Hi, I'm Callie.
I'm Lauren.
And this is the Book Common Room Podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We were just saying it feels like we haven't filmed in a long time.
I know.
But it hasn't been that long.
But
I think I went to Japan for a couple weeks.
Ugh,
So I think time's just
so
weird.
casually. I just went to Japan for a couple weeks.
You know those videos?
Me
of
never
the-
left the freaking U.S. You are well
will.
learned and well traveled, and I'm an ignorant American.
No,
Just kidding.
you will.
I know.
But have you seen those reels that's like your friend that's gone to Japan and they have to bring it up every 2 seconds? When I was in Japan, like they go to the bathroom and it's like, when I was in Japan, the bathrooms were like this, like everything.
Oh,
I won't be like that.
thank you. I appreciate that. But anyways, one day I'm going to be there.
One day.
One day.
It's going to happen.
It will happen. It will happen. Okay.
But anyways, before we start off, as always, Lauren, what have you consumed?
There should be like
Watched,
a
read,
series
listened?
of every bit from every episode when you've asked me that question since I've had a child.
I'm like,
Absolutely nothing.
Winnie the Pooh?
I felt so like energized to read more
Mhm.
recently,
Nice.
but I haven't.
Oh.
like the desire is there, but I have not read anything. I think I like the desire is there to like read, and I know if I like start something, I'll just consume like a whole series. Like
Yeah.
I'm at that point right now, but I just haven't found that thing that clicks with me. So lately I've just been listening to podcasts and watching a lot of Clarkson's Farm.
Nice.
I don't know if you've watched Clarkson's Farm.
I haven't.
He just came out with a new season.
Oh, yeah, he's this dude.
And I love what he's doing because he's really doing a phenomenal job showing the plight of farmers, of modern day farmers. And I love it. And he, doesn't rely on his farm making money in a sense, because if he doesn't do well, he's going to be fine. Farmers around him, it's not the case.
Yeah.
Like they rely on their like farm stock and their livestock. That's their livelihood.
Yeah.
And while he cares deeply about farming, he's first generational farmer. So it's kind of different for him. The stakes aren't the same,
He doesn't have like a family farm that he's trying to keep alive.
Yeah. But he is doing a really good job cultivating his land, and he's also like showing how farmers have to survive, and to survive they have to embrace a lot of technology.
Yeah.
And like drones and things like that. And anyway, so I've been really enjoying that.
Yeah,
I've been listening to the Amy Poehler podcast, Good Hand.
I love her so much. She's
too.
so freaking funny.
She is so funny. She's a delight, and she is so grounded, and I love hearing her opinions. Anyway, so I just listened to the Tom Holland one.
Oh, yes.
And that one was...
that one's really funny.
It's really funny, but also, I don't know, I just love hearing things about like behind the scenes of filmmaking and what it is for an actor like Tom Holland, and him talking about the Odyssey. And that's the other thing too, is like I have been hearing many things about the Odyssey.
Oh.
I don't know if
I've
you
been
have.
trying to stay out of it as much as I can.
You should. I think I need to just... That's another thing. We need to read the Odyssey.
I know. Yes.
Okay. To get to that later. But anyways, that's really been it. I haven't been reading. I've just been preparing for this episode and consuming podcasts.
I like it.
And watching shows, because that's honestly the easiest thing I can
living
do
your
right
life.
now.
Yes.
Yeah. Listening to The Rescuers on vinyl.
Oh, fun.
That has been a thing me and my child have been doing.
Oh, yes.
And it's an audiobook, but it's on vinyl. So it's fun. Anyways, that's it. But what have you been consuming lately?
Yeah, I haven't been reading that much either.
Going to Japan,
Just going to Japan.
When I was in Japan,
When I
I didn't have
was in Japan,
time
I
to
didn't have-
read.
I actually read more than I thought I was going to, because we spent a lot of time on the bullet train. It was like the thing that we love to do. Let's go on the bullet train and go somewhere cool. Anyways, so I've been reading Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. It's that massive series.
It's the same guy that did Assassin's Apprentice? Or,
Yeah. She did Assassin's Apprentice.
Okay.
Yeah, so I finished that trilogy last month. And then the next one is the Live Ship Traders trilogy.
Oh, there's so many books.
Her and Brandon Sanderson are doing a panel and a signing at a high school close to us, and I totally got a ticket. And I was going to try to convince you to get a ticket today to go with me.
Yes. Wait, do we need to pause so I can do that right now?
We can. So that's been a lot of fun going back into that world. It's about pirates. I love a pirate story.
Oh, me too. Pirates of the Caribbean made me want to be a pirate, even though I know how disgusting it
Yes.
is. It romanticized it.
That's
for me.
how this book is too. They talk about the gross things and how horrible pirates are and like morally not very good.
And I
or
know I
anything like
probably
that.
wouldn't do well, but it's still enjoyable for me.
It's still so much fun.
Yeah.
And then I haven't really been reading anything else. Do you know who Cody Fry is?
Yes.
He came out with a new album.
Do I know who Cody Fry is?
Girl, who do you think you're talking to?
Who are you talking to? You send me Cody Fry stuff all the time.
Okay, this is true. This is true. He came out with a new album called The Unlikely Mariner. I think it's technically supposed to be like one piece, and it's in 5 different movements.
Okay.
I was listening to it on the train, and I was a little disappointed because the first song is super cheesy.
Oh.
It's super cheesy. He still has his full symphony that he always has with him, so it's cool. But I was like, oh, this isn't hitting like it normally does. And it's this guy who's just singing about wanting to go out to sea.
Okay.
So I'm like, it's cute, but whatever. Anyways, I kept going. All of a sudden, there was a ship crash. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of sad. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if he's talking about like a relationship he had.
I like how you
fell
called
in
it a
love.
ship crash. A shipwreck?
A shipwreck. The shipwreck.
I'm just kidding. I
It
didn't read
burnt on fire and went into the sea. It crashed with the waves.
Oh, that's cheap. Okay. So there's a ship. There's a ship crash.
A shipwreck. I'm like, oh, that's sad. So like the first song is like he fell in love, and then they like broke up, and then the
I love
third
that.
movement started, and it was like weirdly happy, and I'm like, oh, okay, did he like move on? No,
He's dead.
she's dead.
Oh, she's dead.
And I just started bawling. Because, like, the first song's cheesy. The second one gets better. It's, like, kind of sad and haunting. And then the third one, he starts singing about how, like, a grave can't hold love in the ground and how he's trying to find her, but she can't be found. And, like, I was like, this is so sad. And then the next movement starts, and he's just talking about how he wants to remember her, like, singing to the sea, even though she's dying in the hospital. It's really good.
I need to clarify because you said like because they're dead, and I was like, oh, I love that. No,
Oh no,
I
I
love
mean.
that it's like a story
Yeah.
compiled in an album that you follow along.
Mhm.
Like there's like a linear storytelling to it instead of it being like a hodgepodge.
Yeah, that's why I think it's technically just one piece.
Yeah.
Like if like an orchestra
Like their
were to play it,
movements.
it would be like one song. Yeah.
kind
And then
of
there's
like how
different
they are.
movements.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I love that.
And
though.
the lyrics are really good. Again, the first one, still listening back to it, the first one's pretty cheesy,
Mhm.
but I love it.
I love that. So check out Cody Fry, you guys.
Cody
Listen to
Fry. I do love him.
that. Clarkson Farm season 5 is out.
Oh, fun.
So those are the things we've been consuming.
Yes. Okay, so Lauren is going to teach us for these 2 episodes, basically, about the Wordsworth siblings.
Yes.
I'm super excited. I've read William's Wordsworth, some of his poems before,
Yeah.
but like not like deep dive.
Yeah.
I had never read anything of Dorothy's. I didn't know she existed.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we're going to talk about that.
And then just like reading through the poems in prep for this episode, I'm like, dang, I love romantics.
I know.
And I'm like, I'm so excited to just, because they mentioned a lot of places.
Yeah.
And I was debating whether or not taking a deep dive and studying, but part of me was like, I really want Lauren to just teach me.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I hope I wasn't lazy.
No, I didn't
It
think
was
that.
intentional. Okay, thanks.
Callie's usually the one that scripts out all our stuff, actually. And it's not even like a script. It's just like...
Like bullet points of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a script
Yes.
today.
And I'm very excited.
This is a script because I could not let my professors down. If they somehow watched this,
Mhm.
I couldn't, and I think I might. I think I might get some facts wrong because it's been not that long actually. It's only been a year, but it's been 2 years since my capstone class, at least. Because I did that one early because I was like, I can't do my capstone at the same time as all my like film stuff.
Yeah.
So I like staggered them, which was great that they let me do that. But yes, today we will be talking about the Wordsworths.
I'm excited.
Plural,
Yes.
because you can't, okay. This is a great thing that, shout out right now to
Yes.
Paul Westover and Nicholas Mason, who taught me everything I know about the Wordsworths.
This is dedicated to
This
you.
is dedicated to you. You guys pushed me Man, I love being your student. But yes, today we are going to be introducing poetry, and we went through Dorothy and William to do this.
Yes.
And so we're excited about this. Part of me wants to frame these episodes to Dorothy and William being a creative partnership that helped shape English Romanticism. And so, to Callie's point, many readers know William, but they don't know Dorothy's role. She's his younger sister, and she's often underestimated. We're going to help you understand their relationship because it'll dramatically enrich your experience of reading William's work and also understanding her work. And just a little caveat, I love Dorothy almost a little bit more than William.
I found hers easier to get into.
She's very accessible.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about kind of why that is. So before we jump into the readings, there's something worth saying for anyone who's ever opened a poem and immediately thought, I don't get it. Truly, you're in good company because don't be fooled by our degrees. Learned women. Nah, I don't know about that. I feel like there's a lot of things that I still don't know. So a lot of people were taught that poetry is a puzzle with a hidden answer. And I felt like that's how I was taught when I was in high school a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of why I think I didn't like poetry for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's too hard. I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah, it's so abstract. Just tell me what you mean.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. And I feel like there are a lot of poetry out there that kind of feels like that. To the point that every line contains this secret symbol and that you have to decode and what was the author trying to say? Or if you're not doing that stuff, you're reading poetry wrong.
Not to interrupt you, but have you heard of the Red Wheelbarrow poem?
Wait, hold on. But isn't that by Robert Frost?
Yes. My Romanticism teacher, because he said the exact same thing when he was talking about poetry. And he specifically made us study this one.
Oh, cool. To kind of change how you thought about poetry?
Yeah, because, so the poem, literally, all it is so much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rain, water, besides the white chickens. So it's okay, what's the hidden meaning in this?
Oh, he said that?
It's so deep. Well, I think he's trying to, get us out of that. And he's do you think that's right? Is there some hidden meaning? Or is this literally just about a red wheelbarrow in the rain that's next to a chicken? It's just painting a picture.
It is.
And that's all it is.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful, but it's okay that that's all that is.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Poetry is a medium, of course, of exploring the written word. And so anyways, to get to the point of poetry and kind of what I'm thinking, and I think a lot of people, what they think and what the Wordsworths have brought along with a lot of other poets is that this isn't the only way to approach poetry is decoding it or it's some kind of puzzle. One of the things that made William Wordsworth so revolutionary was that he wanted poetry to sound closer to ordinary life. He wasn't trying to write only for scholars or experts. He wanted to write about experiences that almost everyone has had. Walking outdoors, remembering childhood, feeling lonely, seeing something beautiful, reflecting back on moments of the past. And Dorothy Wordsworth often wrote in an even more accessible way. Her journals are filled with observations that feel very familiar to what we'd probably write. Weather.
Yeah.
Conversations, flowers, landscapes, things that just are ordinary, but she pays very close attention to them.
I love the Romantics for that because I feel like they're very in the moment.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in line somewhere and you're really bored?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I have to wait in line.
Yes.
I have started doing this thing where I'm okay, you know what? I'm just going to kind of let myself be bored, not go on my phone, and just pay attention.
I love
and
that.
It's been cool. And it just kind of I don't want to stare people down, but kind of people watch or notice things that are happening. And it is kind of fun to just notice.
I know.
And romanticize a little bit what's going on.
I know.
Because you do that in nature easily, but it's kind of fun to just do that everywhere. Live in the moment. Yes.
There's something emotional about it too. I remember one time doing that in the grocery store, and it was very, oh man, I might even cry talking about it. It was just this woman who just seemed weather-beaten a little bit, and she had such a hunch. She was bent over halfway, and she was just checking out some canned food and some chicken. And I don't know why I was so moved by this in the grocery line, but I was just looking at her. I don't know, there's something so noble and something so tender about just watching her just go about her life and just wondering what kind of life she's lived.
Yeah, because it's so easy to get caught in your own head and all the horrible things are happening. It's a good,
all the things you have to do.
All the things you have to do and your massive checklist and you're worried about the future. It's nice to just get out of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Being a romantic,
I love it.
101.
Oh, yes.
So if you're listening to these works or reading them and wondering what you're supposed to think, let's try a different question instead of like, what are we supposed to be decoding? Let's just say, what does this make me notice? So that's kind of
I like it.
the question I would pose to you before getting into these works, which we've linked. Here's the key. The Romantic writers, capital R, believed that paying attention to nature, memory, emotions, and everyday life was valuable in itself. You don't need to catch every reference to understand every line on the first reading to appreciate that. In fact, some of the best poetry doesn't reveal itself all at once. It works more like a landscape than a crossword puzzle. You walk through it, notice a few things, and then maybe notice something different the next time. So as we move into these readings, don't worry about being an expert. You don't need a literature degree to engage with the Wordsworths.
It's true.
Truly. And then just caveat again, like this is our spoiler-free episode, so we're just focusing on kind of like preparing you to read the poems and like who were the Wordsworths kind of thing. So when people think of romantic poets, they often imagine like a solitary genius wandering through mountains and fields, finding inspiration alone in nature. One of the central figures of Romanticism is William Wordsworth, who was rarely alone in his creative life. Standing beside him for much of his journey was his younger sister, Dorothy Wordsworth, who's brilliant. She was a diarist and a writer, and her influence can be found throughout most of his famous poetry. And so let's get into who were the Wordsworths. William and Dorothy were born in the scenic region of the Lake District, which I want to go to so bad. I have to go there. And the fact that it's still preserved just makes me so happy, because there have been lots of opportunities for the Lake District to be taken over by construction, all the things. And anyways, their whole persona is like wrapped around the Lake District and Northern England, which is a landscape that would become one of the most important settings in literary history, which is why they have so many tours and so many study abroads for people in the humanities to go there. They grew up during a period of enormous change. They grew up during the American Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, the French Revolution. There's rapid urbanization across Britain. The world around them was becoming more mechanized, crowded, and politically turbulent. Their writing would become in part a response to this transformation. One of the most important facts about their early lives is that both suffered profound losses at a young age. Their mother died when William was 8 and Dorothy was 6. Their father had died a few years later, and afterward the siblings were separated and raised in different households.
Sad.
This separation left a lasting emotional mark on both of them. Many scholars believe that their later closeness emerged partly from this childhood rupture.
I can see that.
Their reunion as adults was not simply a family reconnection. It became one of the defining relationships of both of their lives. I probably should fact check this, but I'm pretty sure William Wordsworth, when he was placed in a different household, they gave him tons of like space to be educated, to study the things he wanted to. But just because Dorothy's a woman, she didn't have the same kind of education.
Yeah.
So I think that is something important to remember, is that Dorothy is brilliant and wasn't able to cultivate like her talents and the way William was able to growing up. William, let's do like a little separation between them to kind of talk about their early years. William Wordsworth's early years, he attended St. John's College, Cambridge, but he was initially viewed as a future literary giant pretty early on. In his youth, he was an enthusiastic walker, explorer. He was super interested in politics and was inspired by revolutionary ideas. He was fascinated by ordinary people and rural life. One of the most significant experiences of his early adulthood was witnessing the early stages of the French Revolution. And like many intellectuals of his generation, William initially greeted the revolution with hope and excitement. He believed it might usher in a more just society. But as the revolution became increasingly violent, those hopes were shaken. And he actually, as he got older, he became more conservative. And I remember having this conversation in one of my classes where we kind of, like, a lot of poets attacked Wordsworth later on for being a sellout because he was this revolutionary, and then he became like a conservative later on, kind of like truly becoming like the opposite of what he was when he was young. And so this political disillusionment became a major turning point in his life and ended up pushing him toward being more introspective, more nature-centered, which is ultimately what made him more famous. Dorothy Wordsworth, like we mentioned, did not receive the educational opportunities that her brother had, which was typical of the time. Dorothy developed extraordinary literary gifts anyways. Her strengths were different from William's. So her writing, which you might have already noticed, is very precise observations. And I feel like the key word here is precise.
Yeah.
She's very vivid in her descriptions. There's an emotional honesty to her writing that's very moving for me. And she pays a lot of attention to small details. While William often transformed experiences into philosophical reflections, Dorothy excelled at capturing moments exactly as they appeared. Reading her journals today can feel surprisingly modern and accessible because of the immediacy and like the intimacy of her writing. And to the good part, their reunion, 1795, they began living together again after years of separation. And this reunion is one of the most important milestones in both of their lives. For William, it provided, well, for both of them, that emotional stability, but it gave him an intellectual companion and a trusted first reader.
Yeah.
And for Dorothy, it offered a home, a literary community, and a life built around observation. And man, like, I mean, I'm of course going to romanticize the romantic poets of the time. They're in the Lake District and they walk around and they talk and they observe the people around them and the nature around them, and they go home and they write about it, and I'm just like, man, like that just sounds like the life.
What are Anne Green Gables? Yes. What's the aunt and uncle's name?
Matthew and Matthew's the uncle. Well, I guess they're adopted
parents, but they're siblings.
So it's like Matthew and
Marilla.
Oh, dang it. Yes.
They're nothing like these two, but I had their
image
in my head when I was picturing them. So it's like just siblings that had probably had a hard life, stuck together, and like they were family, so they just like stuck together.
Yes. But they have, like, William and Dorothy have an unusually close relationship. Like people have, like, there's so many, not just scholars, but just people who have read their works and known about their lives that are just always like very interested in their relationship. Yeah, many literary historians regard this reunion as one of the foundational moments behind William's greatest period of creativity was when they were reunited, where a lot of these writings were starting to begin, was because they were together, and it's very important to show that creative partnership between them both. So enter Romanticism. I think it's important to kind of talk about Romanticism. We have always like danced around it in our episodes, but the Romantic movement emphasized the personal eye, its emotion over rigid rationality, it's the individual experience, nature as a source of meaning. I hope Nick Mason's listening to this. He's like, that was your final. Or like something.
Good job, you remember.
Good job. Wow. Just kidding.
You paid attention.
No. Childhood and memory, imagination, ordinary people as worthy subjects of art. These ideas may sound familiar today, but they were radical in late 18th century. William became one of the movement's leading voices. A major milestone was the lyrical ballads, where our poems come from that we will be reading, like Michael, a pastoral poem, and The Leech Gatherer, which is also called like Resolution Independence. Those come from lyrical ballads written by William Wordsworth. This is one of the most important events in literary history, was a publication of the lyrical ballads, which he wrote, he produced alongside Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Many scholars consider this book the symbolic beginning of English Romanticism. So its revolutionary features include like everyday language. That's why I feel like this is a good introduction to poetry too. Yeah. Is because it is pretty accessible. There's ordinary subjects, there's rural settings, there's an emotional sincerity to them. But Dorothy's presence was deeply woven into the period during which this collection emerged, but she was not listed as a co-author. Yet she was observing, recording, walking, discussing, and sharing experiences that fed directly into the creative atmosphere from which these poems were written. And I will get into that a little bit more. Like, some poems you can read and take that directly from a journal entry she put in. I started with Dorothy's poems when I was reading these. I don't know. Nice. I don't know why. I think it was just, I had copied the links and that hers were just up top. Yeah. And so then I went to Wordsworth afterwards, and it was so obvious that she has. It was like I could almost tell, like, okay, that's a William word and that's a Dorothy word. Yeah. Or like this is because she was such a good journalist and diarist that it really fed a lot of William's work. Yeah. Anyways, so she was not a co-author, but she like fed this directly. Well, like her experiences fed directly the atmosphere which brought us lyrical ballads. Dorothy's influence on William. This is kind of important too. Not kind of important. This is very important. It's important. This is perhaps the most important point for anyone that's listening, as they go into these readings, is that she was not merely an inspiration in the passive sense. She was an active creative presence, which I feel like I'm repeatedly saying. Her journals reveal places that they visit together, conversations that they've had, natural scenes that they observed together, emotional experiences that later appear in William's poetry. Many famous passages in William's work can be better understood when read alongside her descriptions of the same events. Honestly, there probably might even be publications where it's like her journal entry and then his work.
Oh, wow.
Like, I wonder if anyone's compiled that because like almost like a translation.
That's cool. Maybe that you should do that.
I don't know, maybe. Or
that's
like
your life color.
or maybe like some professors already working on that.
Yeah.
Truly. But the difference is fascinating between them. Dorothy records what happened, and then William kind of explores what it meant. So that's kind of how they worked, or at least that's what I noticed in their writings. Dorothy notices like the light on the water, the movement of the flowers, and she writes these things: the changing weather, the details of the walk. And this is like the mini translation I did. For example, and this is the most popular one I think people use, is Dorothy wrote, quote, tossed and reeled and danced and seemed as if they verily laughed with the wind, end quotation, in regards to the daffodils. And William, in his famous poem, I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud, he writes, I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. So that's like a stanza from his poem that I feel like is very correlated to Dorothy's remembrance or like her experience of them walking. William often turns those observations into meditations on memory, time, nature, and the human mind. A useful way to explain it, Dorothy frequently supplied the raw experience. William transformed the experience into poetry. That's obviously a simplification, but that's kind of, I feel like, a good place for readers to kind of explore these writings, kind of having that in mind. Their life at Grasmere. So the siblings eventually settled at Dove Cottage in the Lake District. And so for many literary historians, this period represents the golden age of the Wordsworth Circle. Visitors included Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Robert Southey, other major literary figures. Dorothy kept journals that had become literary treasures in their own right, and these journals provide one of the richest surviving records of daily romantic life. They show like their routines. Like she like writes down everything, walks through the countryside, the friends that she has, like the emotional highs and lows, the people that they met, the people that inspired lyrical ballads. A lot like the Leech Gatherer. That was a person that she wrote down in her journals, and Wordsworth took some of that and wrote The Leech Gatherer.
Okay.
Yeah. And they reveal how intertwined his creative process was with her observations. So his later success, as he aged, William transformed from a young revolutionary poet into a national literary institution. Major milestones for him include publication of increasingly influential poetry collections, growing public recognition, and then becoming the poet laureate in 1843 until 1850, I think, is when he died. This shift sometimes surprises readers. The youthful radical eventually becomes a respected establishment figure, but that is where he gets a ton of criticism, actually. And so his reputation grew steadily throughout his lifetime, and that's not super common for a lot of poets. A lot of times it kind of drops, whereas his did have a steady incline. Dorothy's later years, in her life, it was a lot more difficult. She suffered periods of serious illness and declining health. Over time, she became increasingly withdrawn from the active literary life she had once shared with William. William had these too, but she had really bad headaches and migraine. Her final decades were marked by significant physical and mental struggles. This creates one of the more poignant elements of the Wordsworth story. While William's fame continued to grow, Dorothy's own literary contributions were largely overlooked during her lifetime. Only later generations would begin recognizing the value of her journals, letters, and prose writings. Their relationship later in life, one thing worth emphasizing is that their bond remained very deep throughout their lives. Modern readers sometimes become fascinated by this intensity of like the relationship they have as brother and sister. But even after William married Mary Hutchinson, who was Dorothy's best friend, she was mad. She was, and I don't know, maybe mad is too strong a word, but she was so sad. She was devastated.
Yeah.
Like, she was like, dang it. Like, because Like,
I
William's
could see
her
them
best
being
friend.
a trio, and then all of a sudden it's like, well,
Yeah.
okay, you're gone now.
Yeah, exactly. So she was actually very nervous about their marriage.
Yeah.
It ended up working out because Mary's like her best friend, and they had a very close
Yeah, what if they
relationship.
got divorced? Or like not divorced, because that probably wouldn't have happened back then, but they started hating each other.
I know.
And then she'd have to just be in the middle.
Yeah. Yep. So Dorothy remained a central presence within the household, and importantly, Mary and Dorothy, they maintained a very close and supportive relationship as well.
That's good.
She helped with the kids. I love reading her journal entries about like her family and like their home life. Something to watch for as you get into the poems is one, nature is never just scenery. For the Wordsworth's landscape are emotional and part of me doesn't want to say these things.
Really?
Yeah, like only because I'm like, maybe you should just experience it, you know, and not have like this list of things to be thinking of. Maybe I should like mention these things in our spoiler episode.
Yeah, we can move it.
Yeah, because I don't want to put words into the other people's observations that they could get on their own. You know what I mean?
Do you know what you mean? Yeah, let's move it.
I don't know. I kind of get deep dive of the Wordsworths.
You can tell you have really studied this.
I have not studied as much as people who have like the professors who literally like this is their life.
That's their life and they get paid for it. So.
I'm glad that they get paid for it. But anyways, yeah, we'll talk about those things later because I felt like those are their observations that I enjoyed making for myself and exploring for myself, discovering for myself when I was reading them. So I'm not going to spoil that for you, at least, because this is our non-spoiler episode.
Yes.
Anyway, so closing takeaways. If you only remember one thing from this is William Wordsworth became one of the most influential poets in English literature, but he did not create his work in isolation. Dorothy was not merely a supporting figure standing in the background. She was a gifted writer, a remarkable observer, and one of the most important influences in his artistic developments. Their shared experiences, conversations, their walks helped shape some of the defining works of Romantic literature. You just can't talk about William without talking about Dorothy. Reading William alone reveals a great poet. Reading William and Dorothy together reveals a creative partnership. End scene.
And scene. That was so good.
But that's pretty much it for our introduction. Sometimes I feel like when we talk about authors, we talk about like their most prominent works. Mm-hmm. But I feel like we mentioned the lyrical ballads. There's a lot of other things we could mention, but we're very excited to show you his poetry, her prose, and her writing, her poetry. I just am very excited. It's a really good foot in the door, I think. Mm-hmm. I hope it is, at least. And even if you still don't love poetry after that, it's okay. You just need to give it a try, you know?
I know. Poetry, for me, is a lot like my relationship with Shakespeare. Like, I didn't appreciate it until I was in college.
I know.
And then I was like, I get it. I will say, I've just found for myself personally, I have to read poetry out loud.
I do too.
So I was literally like in my room, whispering it.
It's so beautiful.
But I feel like for me to fully comprehend what's going on is I have to say it out loud. And you have to, it's fun to like find the rhythm in the poems too. And then just kind of like speaking in the rhythm.
Oh,
and wait, I need to read that again.
Yeah.
And that's the other beauty of poetry is you can do it many times.
Yeah. I also had a problem when I was a kid when I was reading poetry is like I would read it, like the sentence, and then the way it ended and how it was written in the sentence before it moved to the next line was, I thought that was like a complete thought kind of a thing. But then you would read the next line and it was finishing what the first line was saying.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why, but when I was a kid, I just couldn't understand what they were trying to say.
These are half sentences.
I know, literally. Which is so dumb.
No.
I just was slow to understand how poetry functioned. And then as I got older, that was one of my professors suggested like reading it out loud. He even was like, just go outside and like read poetry and like see what you learn and like what you observe, and it was really helpful. But I definitely have become a major fan of poetry as I've gotten older, just because I don't know, it's a very beautiful way to observe. I feel like.
Do you know the performative male meme that's going around? So it's a joke, but it's like this guy. It's like Jess Mariano if he wasn't like really a reader.
Oh, and
like
Gilmore
he's
Girls?
got the book in his back pocket and he's reading on the bench outside under the tree, but he's not actually reading it. He's just performing. Oh,
I knew. There's too many of those people in the English department.
It's the
in
thing.
the actual English department.
It's a meme, but they're out there.
They are. I have many women I know have been very hurt.
Oh, that's so sad.
by that kind of performance.
Yes. But just embody that, but like actually read it.
Yeah.
Like don't be
actually read
afraid to like go outside and in a bookstore
Yeah.
and just like read it and appreciate what's around you. I don't know.
Literally. You can take her journals and
You're not performative. You're just actually doing it.
And explore it. Yeah. And that's the other thing too is I feel like I can't read and like poetry without having a pencil in my hand either.
Mm-hmm.
Like to be writing my
I know. I wish I had printed these out. I was just reading them on my computer, and I was taking notes like as I was going, but I wish I had printed them out.
Yeah, I would recommend printing them out or at least having something nearby to write on because there's just like there's quotes or like you have a reaction to something and it's important to write those down.
This is true.
But anyways, that's it, you guys.
Yeah, that's it. Before we end, I just want to throw this out there. So when we were planning this episode, was like, oh, do we each bring a poet? And then Lauren was like, she came with all these things, and I'm like, I love it. We're going to end here. I don't need to do anything.
Oh, you're so nice. I felt horrible because you were like, we were supposed to choose one, and I was like, William and Dorothy. Let's do them. Because I was originally going to do Dorothy. Yeah. But I feel like I needed to talk about William because people are probably like, who's that? Like, I felt like that was a whole conversation we needed to have. So
No, you're totally good. I love it.
I'm glad. I'm so glad. Well,
if I was dead set, I would have said something.
I know. That's true. That's true. And we can also do poetry. Like, this is romanticism. We should do, like, modern poetry. Yeah. Or, like, American poetry. Yeah. Because this is, like, very... Yeah.
This is true.
This is very British, very... I don't know. Which there's a difference in, like, even amongst those poets, it's important to explore. I think there's like cool poetry in American or like in American culture that was worth exploring. But
that's true.
This is what I decided to do.
No, you're totally good. And then I think just to end this out, so there's this other poet. He's a Japanese poet. So his name is Basho. So romanticism never made it to Japan. So they kind of had their own thing, but it wasn't the same. Like it was in the Western world. So if you want to this is kind of like if you want to look more into poets who are doing the similar things, but from around the world, he's a good person to look into.
Yes.
So, but reading William Wordsworth and Dorothy Wordsworth, I just kept thinking of this haiku that he wrote. Yes. So in the collection of haikus is called The Narrow Road to the Deep North. So crash course, Basho he left home and he traveled to somewhere else. I don't remember exactly where it was. And he just wrote haikus as he went along. This is what he wrote as he was leaving his home. It says, it's called The Departure. It says, spring is passing, birds are crying, tears in the eyes of fish. And that's the end of it. But I feel like that's a very in the moment, he's just noticing spring is passing.
Yeah.
The birds are crying, which is chirping, but he used the word crying. Yeah. So it's like, are they sad? And then tears in the eyes of fish. Fish don't cry, but there's fish around. So it just felt very Wordsworth to me, how he added stuff to that.
Yeah, but like an embellishment upon the observation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or
an interpretation of the observation. Because that's the other thing, too, is like my whole capstone is kind of about like the leech gatherer and how Wordsworth tailors that to not, it's not an observation anymore. Mm-hmm. It's literally like his experience of witnessing the leaf gatherer and even embellishing it a bit because it didn't happen that way, I guess. In the poem, it's not what actually happened, I guess. So anyways.
But they're everywhere. They're awesome. But I'm excited to talk about our thoughts in the next episode.
Yes. Okay, well, enjoy, you guys. I really want to hear what your guys' thoughts are. We need to be more active on Fable because people are a lot more engaging there. And so we need to be better about connecting with you guys there.
Yes.
Anyways, thank you guys. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice.
Okay.